Hello, Huladunya. It's Misha Shuse Nikavoli and Keynes. This is Susan McMillan Keynes, and we are in Kirkhill, Ontario. We are at Kirkview Farms with my guest tonight, Mike MacGillvray, and we are going to be talking about the theme of our show, which is Know Your Culture and Live It. The Scots-Gaelic culture is rich here. It has been for many generations, and our guest, Mike, is going to give us some insight into how he is living his culture because he knows it. We have an ancient teaching that says if you know who you are and you know where you come from, then you can go into the future with strength and courage. Our Gaelic values appear to be expressing themselves well here, that those values are courage, generosity and hospitality, loyalty to clan, to family, to the land, to chief, and creativity abounding today, this weekend of our Highland Games. So, Mike, I would like you to tell us something about our location right here. We have positioned the camera in such a way to highlight something special, which has given rise to the name of your farm.
Yes, so it's Kirkview Farms. Kirk, of course, means church in Gaelic. And if you take a look in behind us, we have St. Columba, which will be hosting the kirking of the Tartan tomorrow. And then we have the United Church, which is directly behind us. And my ancestors actually sold off 4 acres of this property. So the one farm is 100 acres, the other one's 96. The reason being is that they sold off 4 acres to the United Church for them to start up.
Let's go back to something you just said, the kirking of the Tartan tomorrow. Can you say something about how that relates to our value of courage?
Well, the thing about the kirking of the Tartan is basically in the Highlands they had a special whenever they weren't allowed to show their culture, they actually had a special day where they would come to church, they would wear tartan underneath their clothing, and the minister would do a blessing of it. So that's a celebration that's gone on here for quite some time now. And
so it was forbidden to wear.
It was forbidden to have any cultural aspect being shown. So this was a way for them to be able to maintain that loyalty you talked about, was the loyalty to their heritage, and that tartan was a part of that. So it's still carried on today here. So
tell us something about these farms here, why it's a plural word, Kirkview Farms.
So the farm that we're sitting on right now was my grandfather's, and it's been passed down since the early 1800s in my family. The adjacent farm was also MacGillvray family. My grandfather purchased it, and my dad took it over in the late 60s, and then of course we've taken it over now, so that's why we have the plural aspect. But we came from a lot of the Scots were escaping the tenant farmer system, and they've come to Canada. And if you take a look around us, it's actually all Scots, and still a lot of them today. The farm right next to us is MacGillvray's. The farm across the road is MacGillvray's. 2 farms over is MacGillvray's. So there's a real enclave of MacGillvray's here, but we're a real community.
Yeah, it's a real community, but I want to clarify that we're not just Scots. We're Scots-Gaels, which implies bloodlines. Bloodlines that go back into the mists of time that have been kept in the clans, the knowledge of who these people are. Naming children for ancestors. And so there's generations that go back 1,000 years in some cases. I know with the McMillans, we can go back 1,000 years, and I'm sure the MacGillvrays can too. And that knowledge is kept.
And the names are carried on as well. So my son is William Matthew Harold, and so the William comes from my grandfather, Bill. So that, you're exactly right. You want to continue that lineage, and it's important from a heritage point of view. And it was actually my grandfather that passed on a lot of the heritage aspects that we are so enthralled with today. Is it was from him. He really instilled that in us.
So you're doing something that's very special here in Glengarry. Can you tell us something about the kind of farming you're doing that others are not doing yet?
So we're doing regenerative farming. So basically, it's the next form of organic. It's basically reducing the amount of outside inputs. It's taking care of soil health. It's that making sure that we're good stewards of the land that has been given to us through land patent. Actually, this property was a land patent grant. Is how it came about. So it's that stewardship. It's ensuring that future generations of our family will have good soil to be able to derive a living from. So we're focused on making sure that we use practices that benefit the soil. Also from not only from the soil point of view, but what the soil gives us. It's for our health, our community health. It's basically a very holistic approach to agriculture.
So this morning, we went on a little tour of the farm to see all the pigs. Yeah. Can you tell us something about how your pigs are helping you do regenerative agriculture?
So we use them for basically rehabilitation, for tilling. So any area that we need to till up, that's what we use the pigs for. They're basically a plow.
They root around with those magnificent noses.
Yeah, and the pigs are very intelligent animals, and they're very good at what they do. And so we utilize them to massage the soil and to turn things over for us. We use cattle for basically sequestering carbon, so basically get that biomass, consume it, turn it into a high-value protein, and then, of course, return the nutrient from the nutrient cycle, return it back to the soil so we get that constant nutrient cycling. And so that's kind of the things we do. We have chickens as well, which for nitrogen, to put nitrogen back in the soil. So,
and aren't you going to be doing something, or are doing something with nut trees?
Yeah, so we've planted quite a few oak already, but we're also going to be looking at doing hazelnuts in the future. So the idea is to have a more permanent cropping system, which is basically using nut trees. So that's, of course, longer term. We have to utilize what we have right now, but long term we want to have more of that type of.
Acorns are known to have a lot of protein in them. And also I know that in Europe, when they were putting probes down into peat bogs to discover what plants were available in times of global warming, in the past, when humans were alive, they discovered that it was acorns and grasses, and that was about it. So it seems like acorns are a good thing to try to get. It's also an old trees that don't produce acorns for about 20 years. So it definitely is an act of generosity to the future.
Yeah, definitely. So we've planted about 5,000 trees on here.
Wow.
Oak was one of the main species that we looked at. We've put some hickory and stuff as well, because we don't want to have a monoculture. But the idea is we do have a lot of oak, and the idea I may never see the harvest off of those myself, but the future generations will. And pigs love acorns, like you said, from a protein point of view, but it has other benefits for them too, from parasitic control and stuff like that. So it's a great product to be able to, and in the flavor it gives pork is amazing as well.
So it takes a lot of courage to step out of the box and do something differently from what everybody else is doing here. That they've been evolving. Since they arrived here, they've been evolving their agricultural practices, but you're stepping out of the box. And what's that like for you?
It's challenging, of course, because just even from a resource point of view, the large agricultural enterprises that exist today have a lot of resources to support them. The type of agriculture that we're doing, you have to do a lot of the work yourself and find out and learn. So you're constantly learning. But it's a great, because every day is a new day, and you learn something new, and we get to implement it and try it. And there's a gentleman that says that if you're not failing, you're not trying hard enough. So we're trying every day to fail. And
trying involves creativity, creative thinking. Can you say something about that?
Yeah, so some of the ideas that we have is we do rotational grazing. So with chickens, like what's designing the best system to be able to move chickens efficiently. There's only 2 of us, so we got 1,200 birds on site right now, and it's basically how do 2 people manage and take care of that. So we've taken old hay wagons and converted them and made it fairly simple to move them. So yeah, you have to be creative about it, and just basically what we're doing is kind of different. It's there's some creativity in that aspect. Is that we're doing something different from what everyone else is doing, so kind of makes us unique, and people have an interest in it, and people want to get connected back to their roots, whether it's food or whether it's family, and those two things really go together. And that's really, from our point of view, food has been a very important part of our family, and so. And the health of that, and it makes a healthy family as well. So, that's been a lot of our focus. So,
well, this is very exciting, and every time I come up here, I want to come over and look at it.
It's always changing, right? There's always something new.
Yes, and you are living our Scots-Gaelic values, and I'm inspired to find more ways in which you're pulling this off, and highlight that so others can be inspired in the area of sustainable agriculture. So thank you very much for allowing me to come and see your farm this morning, and your pigs and all the animals. Yeah. And they're all wandering around here. Yeah, there's a calf back there.
Calf back there. There's some, you can't see it in the camera, but there's pigs over here. So
you had one pig that was living with you in the kitchen, in the house for a while?
Yeah, so she was special. She had a birth deformity, but it didn't stop her. She had one leg that wasn't working quite right, but she gets around on 3 legs, and she's doing just great. And she's now back with the herd and enjoying life. So
when I drove up, I called her name, and she ran over to me. Yeah. It was quite rewarding.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, and look forward to more interviews from Glengarry this weekend, and we will see you later. So himi amariku, oi kiavalev bianaklev, everybody. See you later, and good night. Blessings upon you.
Blessings upon everybody.